Well, guys, there were so many people out there trying to warn the American people that a second Trump term would be an absolute clown show, and I think they were right, because the clown show has started to assemble. But if you end up getting anything out of this video, please remember to hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I would very much appreciate your support. Now, during the first Trump term, Donald Trump appointed a whole bunch of people that you might consider establishment Republicans. And some of those establishment Republicans were able to act as a sort of check on Donald Trump's worst impulses. But in a second Trump term, he is going to learn from those so-called mistakes and will now only be appointing people that are completely loyal to him. It doesn't matter if you have the competency, it doesn't matter if you have the skills for the job, you just need to be loyal. The competency is secondary. It's kind of like a DEI for MAGA lunatics. And one of those MAGA lunatics, his name is Tom Homan. Donald Trump just appointed him to be the so-called border czar, and he is going to be the guy that will be the face of Donald Trump's mass deportation plan. So I thought we need to take a look at who this guy is, and we'll go ahead and kick things off by looking at part of his speech from the RNC, just to see where he falls on this or how he approaches this.
Biden is the first president in American history to come into office and unsecure a border. Who the hell does that? On their first day in office, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris suspended deportations. They stopped the border wall. They canceled Remain in Mexico. They reinstated catch and release. They proposed amnesty for millions, along with free health care. And now we have a record illegal immigration, a record number of women and children being sex trafficked, a record number of Americans dying from fentanyl, a record number of known as suspected terrorists sneaking across our border. And here's what you need to know. This isn't mismanagement. This isn't incompetence. This is by design, and it's a choice. It's national suicide.
So the reason I show this to you is because I think it's important to point out that this dude's worldview is the MAGA conspiratorial worldview. There might be fragments of truth here and there, but listening to what he is saying, he's trying to say that Biden is just letting these people flow across the border and that he's doing it on purpose. We're dabbling with great replacement theories type stuff. And this conspiratorial worldview is what is driving people like Tom Homan. So it's going to be really hard for them to solve these so-called problems when most of their thinking is based off a conspiracy that has been baked in to the MAGA universe. How are these people supposed to come up with competent solutions if they cannot correctly identify the problem? It's going to be a huge problem, and we need to be on the lookout for it because people like this are the closest they can be to power, and they're going to be the ones trying to carry out these horrendous plans that Donald Trump envisions. So let's go ahead and move on to where Tom Homan kind of got a little famous because he was yelling at Pramila Jayapal during a congressional hearing.
Look, you want to know why there's 50,000 people in detention? You want to know why we have 1 million illegal entries in the United States? You want to know why we have these issues? Because you have failed to secure the border. You have failed to work with this president to close the 3 loopholes we've asked for 2 years to close. So if you want to know why this issue exists, you need to look in the mirror. You have failed American people for not securing the border and closing loopholes.
Mr. Homan, please respect the chair and the authority of the chair. The time of the gentleman has expired.
I've asked you politely to let me go beyond my time, and you let other people go beyond their time, but not to Tom Homan. He don't get to go beyond his time.
Mr. Homan, we have approved an agreement between the Republicans and the Democrats with the ranking member. We increased the time of one member of Congress who was interrupted by a protest. That is done with the approval of the ranking member. Please respect the chair's authority.
I respect the chair's authority, but the chair...
Mr. Homan!
You work for me. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. You work for me.
The witness will suspend.
Seems like a real great guy, right? The reason I show this to you is because these are the types of people that Trump is going to surround himself with, and it's more of an indictment on the MAGA universe as a whole. The people who are part of MAGA, this is how they act. There is no respect for others. There is no respect for being in Congress at a hearing. The rules don't apply to them. They can just talk whenever, and you work for me, so you better do what I say. This is the type of behavior that has been rewarded in the MAGA universe. This is the type of thing that Donald Trump notices, and he rewards these people. They're not nice. They are mean. They are cruel. They don't follow the rules, and they're entitled. They think their worldview is the only worldview, and they try to force it upon others. And these are the types of people that are going to be in a second Trump administration. Let's go ahead and move on to this conversation between AOC and Tom Homan, where they are discussing the family separation policy that was an absolute stain on the first Trump administration.
And so the recommendation of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as it is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
And she is absolutely correct about that. When people present themselves at the border, they are allowed to seek asylum. And the laws on our books say that we have to hear out their case. So it's really concerning that Tom Homan, somebody who's going to be the face of mass deportations, has no understanding of what the actual problem at the border currently is. And he was the guy that recommended the family separation policy, the zero tolerance policy. Because the cruelty is the point. These people want to be mean. I don't know if it is racism or what, but they do not respect immigrants. They think that every single one of them should leave, whether they are here legally or illegally. And they just want to be cruel for cruelty's sake. It is quite disgusting, and God help us all that these are the type of people that are going to be surrounding Trump. And when he was later asked about this family separation policy with Wolf Blitzer, the inhumanity bled out even more. Let's go ahead and take a look at what he said there.
It hurts me, and it hurts so many people who are involved with ICE to be forced into to punish children for what their parents may be doing.
We're not punishing children.
The children are being punished.
At the fault of their parents. Their parents are making a clear decision.
But the ICE personnel have to deal with that, and it clearly looks so inhumane.
That's our job. Our job is to enforce the law. We don't get to pick and choose what we do. We enforce law. Every law enforcement officer, I've been doing this 34 years. I've seen a lot of terrible things in my career. Every police officer sees sad things, but he still got to do his job.
Doesn't want to take accountability or doesn't really care. Just blame it on the parents. Well, the parents shouldn't have showed up at the southern border and presented themselves for asylum. That is what he is saying here, even though they have a legal right to do so. Tom Homan doesn't care. Rip these people, rip these kids away from their parents. And the cruel thing about this particular policy is that they were separating children from their parents as a means of deterrence. They were trying to make it stop other illegal immigration, as they put it. But the problem was there was never any proof that this particular policy worked. And it was just cruel. And I don't think the American people really know what they are in for when they see children being ripped out of their mother's arms because people like Tom Homan are trying to carry out these exact same policies again. He clearly doesn't have an understanding of the problem. He clearly has no respect for the asylum process. There's something more going on there, and he just wants to get these people out of the country no matter what it takes, whether they are here legally or not. He sat down for an interview earlier this year before he was made the border czar, and he was asked about anchor babies. You know, we have some undocumented immigrants that have children in this country, and when they are born in this country, they are citizens of this country. It is in our Constitution. That is how it goes. Let's see what Tom Homan had to say about that.
Why should a child who is an American citizen have to pack up and move to a country that they don't know?
Because their parent obviously entered the country illegally, had a child knowing he was in the country illegally, so he created that crisis.
The cruelty is the point. You have American citizens, and he's just saying, well, just deport them with their parents. How does that even make sense? You're going to take a child that was born in the United States and you're going to ship them off to Mexico, to a country that they've never been before? How does that make sense? How has this guy, somebody who's going to be in charge of deportations, not thought about these things? How does he not understand that there is a bit more nuance to many of these cases? Or he has thought about it and he just wants to be mean. Because like I keep on saying, the cruelty is the point. And when he was asked how he could carry out mass deportations without separating families, listen to what he said.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
This is like monster tier stuff. You're saying, oh yeah, let's just deport them all together. I don't care. Doesn't matter if there's a citizen baked in there or not. Get him out of here. That's what I'm getting from Tom Homan. This guy is mean, and he wants to be cruel just to be cruel. And these are the types of people that Donald Trump is surrounding himself with. The type of people that go in front of Congress and have no respect for the rules. The type of people that base their worldview off of Donald Trump conspiracy theories. And these are the people that are going to be carrying out policy in a second Trump administration. So it is going to be a bumpy ride, folks. We need to make sure we know who these people are and that people are keeping their eye on them. When they mess up, it needs to be called out then and there. These people need to be held accountable for what they are about to do to America. And I really hope that when America starts to see these mass deportations play out, that they're going to have a come to Jesus moment and regret their choice. And I firmly believe that America will come to regret the choice to elect Donald Trump for a second term, especially when they see kids ripped away from their parents at the hands of Tom Homan. I don't think America is going to be able to stomach it. We shouldn't want to stomach it. We do not need to be cruel for cruelty's sake. We are Americans, and we have humanity, and we can show respect to others. But I'll leave it there. If you guys got anything out of this video, please remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share it with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. Like I said, I am trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so I would very much appreciate your support. If you want to see Jim Jordan saying that elections are only free and fair when their guy wins, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.